It's Friday, July 15th, 2022, and this is Den Excelsior, the Mostly Marvel podcast. I'm Dennis, and I'll be your host as we review the latest happenings across Marvel and all media, as well as other superpowered stories that caught our attention, if there were any. And when I say we, I'm referring to the special panel of nerds joining me this evening. First up is the only co-host I got. That's how I introduced him last week, but whatever. I'm lazy. It's Ricky.
I'm here again this week.
Here. Welcome. Has it been a good week?
It's been a good week. It's finally not hot in Southern California, so I feel like that's a big win.
It's definitely calmed down a bit. It's true.
Gas prices went down. Can't complain.
Nice. I guess you can't. This is the kind of awesome banter you'll get when you check out our show on any Friday night, guys.
Mm-hmm.
No, seriously though, we probably have better things to discuss. But let's get our special guest out so that we don't feel like we're holding somebody back. I think that's why we never chat about anything specific until then.
Mm-hmm.
Our special guest will be spending more time with Ricky next week than I have this month. It's Clarke.
Hello.
Is that a fair assessment?
That is. We're going to be line buddies.
We'll probably clock in like 12 hours together, right?
Yeah, you will.
We're waiting in line. We're doing lines. All the lines.
Whoa. So what I meant by that is the three of us, among other friends, will be all attending San Diego Comic-Con next week. We're planning to talk about that probably.
San Diego Comic-Con International. You got to say the whole thing.
Sorry. We're gonna do it. We're gonna brave it. I know I've been told that San Diego's still in the red zone right now.
They just got into it.
Oh, they just got into it again. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well,
I shall be bringing masks.
Yeah, we're gonna bring the heaviest of duty of masks. But we're gonna try and my wife and I, we're gonna do Comic-Con a little different. We're gonna try and do it a little bit more laid back and chill, but I think you guys are prepared to go all full.
Yeah, we're still going to the orgy.
I'm going back to Hall H.
3 minutes in, and he mentions the orgy.
Yeah, we had to get a quota today.
Yes, the other hero-gasm, Hall H.
Yeah. I want to say I envy you guys, but I don't know that I do. But I do appreciate the commitment, and I know that you guys are going to be hanging out till the wee hours. Just
it's an experience.
Yeah, it's an experience. Yeah. It's only worth it if you get a hat at the end. If you don't get a hat, I'm gonna
That is,
you don't know.
That's
have like the staple. You get a Feige hat at the end of the Marvel.
You have the strangest of bars for everything in life, and it's only worth it if you get a hat. That's awesome.
I do have a nice collection of Feige hats.
In fairness, I've worn a Black Widow hat a lot in the last 3 years. 3 years.
Remember we had a wand one year? Like you had some cool shit in there.
Yeah, I definitely sold that wand for sure. Yeah. But anyways, before we continue, thanks Clarke for being here. I know it was very short notice. I hit you up on like Wednesday because I was like, I can't find a guest. And so
I'm always happy to be the best of what's left.
No, you are the best of what's left. But no, like it was just in fairness, the reason you were so bottom on the list is because you were just with us 4 weeks ago.
Yes.
Yeah,
and I try to mix it up. I try not to have the same guest on two times in one season.
But I'm happy to discuss the end of it. I'm happy to continue discussing the show.
We have beardless Clarke this time.
We do have beardless Clarke.
You guys are both beardless, kind of. Is that like a thing for Comic-Con? Are we supposed to shave?
Well, I just know a lot of pictures get taken of me, and so I just wanted to clean
Not if you're
up.
wearing a mask. But,
I mean, I still.
It is more comfortable without the wearing masks without the
Yeah,
beard.
my mask sits tighter when the beard is shorter, for sure. So, but anyways, what I was gonna say is, before we continue talking with Clarke and stuff, let me get some formalities out of the way for anybody who's listening. We have a fun show in store. As advertised, we'll be putting a spotlight on the finale of Miss Marvel. I don't know, is it the season finale or the series finale? Has they
it's all
confirmed?
series, right?
Okay, sure.
Until next week.
Yeah, until next week when they say season 3.
Well, it's to be continued in a movie.
Yeah,
So the
that's true. But
next
then they
step
still
is-
could have another
yeah.
show afterwards
Yeah.
too. But before that, we have some nerd news to discuss. Normally we'd be doing a quick round of trivia, but I think we've, as a group, decided earlier today we're going to do something a little different than that. But we will have something to break it up before we move on to the Miss Marvel stuff. And then for those of you joining us live, don't be shy. We'll be checking the comments regularly. And if you can't get enough of us, you should visit patreon.com/denixmedia, where I was just there moments ago canceling our soapbox, which is normally a thing that we do after every show. And it's a patron exclusive experience where they get to hang out with us late Friday nights, chat with us while we chat about whatever there is. But there's other stuff there. We won't be doing the soapbox tonight. That was also collectively decided only moments ago. But we normally do the soapbox, but we also have other content that's up there on the website. Like
You got a big week ahead of us.
Yeah, and we'll probably be posting a lot of stuff, like pictures and stuff from Comic-Con to that place. So if you want to go check it out, I swear, I know when it says Patreon, it sounds like money, but like I actually put up a lot of free content there just because it's kind of like my place to just dump what I'm thinking.
I think we only request like one money, right? Like it's only $1.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
Don't be misadvertising.
I didn't know what we still had up there. I should know. I should go visit patreon.com.
You should. But in any case, you can go there. Lots of other stuff. And if that's not your thing, though, Soapbox usually goes up the following week for free because we're that nice.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but no Soapbox this week, so don't worry about it. When this show ends, we're done for the foreseeable future for 2 weeks because we're out next week.
Statistically, one of us will have COVID when we come back.
Statistically, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And it's weird to joke about it, but it's probably true. Any case, we're all vaxxed up though, so
may the odds be ever in our favor.
Yes, may the odds be ever in our favor. All you gotta do is go into Comic-Con just saying I'm a leaf in the wind. And
watch how I saw it.
Yeah, just keep saying that, and then eventually it'll all work out. So yeah, I guess before we move on to like news and stuff, like aside from anything Comic-Con related, like what's been up? What are you guys nerding out on lately?
You know what? I went to the Rose Bowl swap meet this past weekend, and if you haven't been, it's a huge ass swap meet at the Rose Bowl, as the name implies. But I just can't emphasize how big it is there. So a good chunk of it is.
Is it as big as the Rose Bowl?
It's bigger because it's in the parking lot too.
Oh, okay.
They take up like half the parking lot. But there's like a big vintage clothes section there, and oh my god, like the vintage 90s Marvel shirts are like reselling like crazy. Like the ones with the big graphics and Spider-Man fighting Venom and dumb stuff like that. I was just, did you guys have some of those as a kid? And then B, do you guys still have some? Because I really want one.
No, I don't have any of my clothes from back then. I've changed so many shapes and sizes that no, I don't have my clothes from back then.
I bought a very nice button-up collared Spider-Man shirt, so you'll be seeing that at Comic-Con.
Very nice is quite subjective, but yes. What about you, Clarke? What have you been nerding out on?
I've been watching a lot of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which we'll talk a little bit more about later, but really enjoying that. I went to the Hollywood Bowl for the 4th of July fireworks with Steve Martin and Martin Short.
That's
and
cool.
they are still hilarious. I can't believe Martin Short is in his late 70s and is still doing physical comedy.
Yeah.
Do you watch Only Murders in the Building?
I started it. I have not completed it, but yeah,
Okay.
it is.
I
It is
have
entertaining.
not. I have not started it yet.
So that was a lot of fun, and mostly I'm trying to get through some of my backlog in this little summer break section and stuff. So like, let's try to finish the games that actually have endings.
Yeah, no, we were doing a massive binge because I had T-1 day left of my Paramount Plus because I don't want to keep paying for it.
Yeah.
And so we just noticed at the start of this past weekend, we're like, all right, cool. We finished all of Star Trek Discovery. We still have one season of Picard and a full season of Strange New Worlds to watch. I guess we're watching that continuously every day this week until we finish it. And it got pretty daunting at some point because we're like, I don't know if this is getting done. And then we just kind of decided the other day, because then like my wife picked up Evil in the process, like, which is a great show as well.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, well, she just added a third show to this. Now we're definitely not finishing these. So I was like, all right, I'll just give them $10 this week, and then like that's it. We'll just finish it all. Also, because RuPaul, I had to watch that today too. But now I can comfortably watch the finale of RuPaul in my home on a Saturday night while you guys are done with, or Friday night while you guys are in line for Comic-Con stuff.
This is now when the whole channels have seasons.
You could watch it in line. Streaming.
I'm not installing that app on my phone. Screw that. I'm not letting them know.
The 2 megs.
No, it's about my data, man. It's about giving them information that I don't feel like giving them about me. But yeah, no. So we've been watching all the Star Trek, and Picard is absolute trash, and Strange New Worlds is probably the best thing named Star Trek that I've seen since The Next Generation or Deep Space Nine. It is an awesome show. It definitely takes a lot of nods from The Next Generation.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, entire episodes feel like I'm pretty sure that was a Next Generation episode, but
that's a good thing.
That's not a bad thing.
It is a very good thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like when the Orville first came out. You're like, hey, that's a TNG episode. And I'm not mad,
Orville's good.
Yeah,
Orville's good. Orville's worth watching too.
The new season of Orville has been rough for me.
That's true. I only watched up through season 2, or I'm on season 2. So,
but there you go. It's just an overload of Star Trek for me this week. That but some other random thing. I just, in case I meant to tell you the other day, Clarke. In case you never got a chance to watch it, I've heard in the Marvel collecting communities that I'm in, I've always heard good things about Spectacular Spider-Man. But that one's never going to be on Disney Plus because it's.
I adore Spectacular Spider-Man, and I have the whole thing on Blu-ray.
It's on Netflix now.
Is that the Drake Bell one?
No, Drake Bell is Ultimate Spider-Man. That's on Disney Plus. Every Spider-Man cartoon except Spectacular, and I think maybe not the MTV one. But Spectacular and MPH are the only ones that aren't on Disney Plus. But yeah, I started watching it. It's cool. It's like the art style is weird, but like the storytelling is for a far more intelligent human being than the previous Spider-Man was. So
yes, I have the whole series on Blu-ray.
That's cool.
I love that series.
Yeah, it's just 2 seasons of 13 episodes each, so they're pretty fast. Yeah,
but
I recommend it if you never watched it, but I guess you watched it, so.
Yep, I had no idea you hadn't. Otherwise, I would have recommended it to you a long time
ago. It came out in 2008. It was a weird time for me. It was like I wasn't really reading comics or anything then. I was, I don't know. It's a weird time.
And I like the theme song, Spectacular Spider-Man.
But it's pretty cool. I would recommend that one over some of the other ones. But anyways, I think that's all I got for nerding out stuff. We, other than the usual, we nerd out on Fortnite pretty much daily. So why don't we do some news, Ricky? And
Let's
I
do
hope you
some
got
news.
the news items that I want to see.
Okay. I hope I have the news items you want to see. Another week goes by. Another person gets added to the Madam Web cast.
You should just call it To the Madam Web.
To the Madam Web.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I read about this
Emmy
actually.
nominee Adam Scott is joining Madam Web, coming off Severance. What you thinking? Pretty good? Pretty bad? It makes you a little more interested?
I still don't think that movie's going to be good, and it just bums me out every time they add another good actor to it. Like I can't name a single good Madam Web story that I ever read that I was like, I've got to show this to every friend of mine ever because they've got to.
I'm just waiting for them to say that it's not a Madam Web movie. I feel like that's the only conclusion.
It's pretty much as far from Madam Web from the comics as you get. I mean, it's starring Dakota Johnson.
Yeah.
And so she's going to be, the young Madam Web, and I don't know what she's going to actually do.
And it's a clairvoyant spider person. That's what it is.
Right.
Like, I don't know what to say. Like,
it's going to be an artistic interpretation based on the inspiration from the comics.
Here's the problem with Madam Web is because she's part of this larger spider totem universe. It's gonna get gross because you're gonna start learning that spider that bit Peter was destined to be to bite him, and there's this whole convoluted web of reality or whatever, and it's dumb. It's kind of dumb. It's not. It's gonna be hard to make it believable. And I believe the MCU could make it cool. I don't believe Sony can make it cool.
Well, it's gotta at the end of the movie, she's gonna say, "I need to put a team together." Aaron Taylor Johnson is Craven, and
that's dumb.
Tom Hardy
it's dumb. That's all dumb.
Come out of the shadows.
She has no business building a Sinister Six. That's not Madam Web's function. Can we just move on? I hate these Madam Web updates.
Okay, we'll get another one next week anyway.
From presumably respectable resource deadline.
Another piece from Variety, everyone's favorite Han Solo, is joining the Ironheart series. Alden Ehrenreich. I don't think he was the worst part of Solo. He was great in what was that Coen Brothers movie, Hell Caesar? His little bit there. I don't know.
I don't have a problem with it at all.
All right, cool. Yeah. We're all in favor. Higher hopes for this one.
I didn't say that. You didn't really ask me.
Okay, are you on the train or no?
I definitely think he was one of the worst parts of Solo.
But was he the worst part of Solo?
He's the only thing I can think of at the moment. So yeah, sure.
Okay,
sure.
2 out of 3 ain't bad, Alden. This one was kind of an interesting one. This was floating around earlier in the week. So this is from gamer.com, I believe. So it was a article written about the Reddit post on the VHX visual effects artist subreddit, where it kind of just details a lot of sentiment towards working with Marvel, or negative sentiment. Basically saying that they are probably the worst client to work for, given their unreasonable deadlines and their constant shifting of projects. I think there's one account saying that they request for an unusual number of alternate takes for one scene, only to pick, the one, So see if you guys had any. This is all coming on the backs of I guess there's growing backlash or growing negative feedback towards the CGI in the past 2-3 years or so.
Yeah, if you're a good Marvel fan, you stay through the credits, right? With every movie, and when it always gets to the VFX parts, oh my
The
god,
wall of
it
names.
is just a wall. It's a
Yeah,
wall
it's
of
an army.
names, and it's not just one army, it's multiple armies
Yeah.
because they contract a
Mhm.
lot of different companies all
Yeah.
at once because the undertaking's too large for one company to manage.
Yeah.
So when they say VFX artists are refusing to work with them, that's probably VFX artists from a specific company because like there's so many that they're using. But that said, like it is pretty interesting because like when they say that the unrealistic deadlines, I just saw this really cool TikTok today that was really putting things in perspective because I know there's a lot of fans out there that are really cranky about the way these all these Disney Plus shows are playing out, or
Mhm.
or even the movies, like how they all have a very similar build up to something that is very unfulfilling, right? That's been Frank's complaint for like
Yeah.
a year
Like,
and a
what's
half, right?
the point right now? What's going on?
And so this girl did a lot of investigating and figured out that like the funny thing is as much as we complain about it, it doesn't matter. And here's why. And she looked at the production schedules of all of them. And everything that we've watched in the last 2 years was all filmed within a very small block of time.
Mhm.
And there's like, so we're not like whatever feedback the fans are giving about like how these movies and shows are playing out, that won't, if they even care to address it, we won't see the return on that until like maybe 2025 or 2026 or something like that.
To
Because
kind of put in perspective, she graphs them all. I love that we totally on the same TikTok pages.
yeah,
Ms. Marvel was filming when WandaVision was airing on TV.
exactly.
Think about that.
Like, and She-Hulk was actually filming, it was done filming before Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
But because they have so much more VFX they have to do for that, they
But I'll
delay it.
counter that. I think Marvel internally has a baseline where they know that they can produce a VFX of a certain quality and it
Well,
be
that's
good enough for its intended purpose.
but that's what I'm saying is like essentially what they're doing now is mass producing these shows and
Mhm.
movies, right? Like
Mhm.
whereas with the first phase one, what that was one or two movies,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
A year.
every few years,
You're not going to get a Thanos level character every movie.
Right, but what I'm saying is like the rate at which they're churning these things out now is so unlike what it was when they started,
Right.
that they have no choice but to one, lower that baseline a little bit, like for what the VFX are, and maybe for what the quality of the story is, like everything gets diluted when you start mass producing, right? And so, I mean, I'm not saying they're bad, but I'm not saying they're going to be as good as they were, because like it's a product that they're pushing out right now,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? And so like you can either choose to like that product or you can move on from that product,
Yeah.
But
And
sorry, I
Disney,
said that.
yeah.
Yeah, say what you're going to
Like
say, Clarke.
like Marvel Studios, started off small and
Mhm.
your own stuff, and now of course it's gotten bigger and it has the backing of Disney behind it, but it also has the commandments of Disney on it. So Disney wanted content for Disney Plus, and they knew they were going to get that from their Marvel Studios, and that's one of the reasons. So that's why they're making all these Disney Plus shows, and so yeah, they have a huge thing, and yet I'm still loving it, and I love my Moon Knight. That was great. And so are they going to be? I don't have a problem with the special effects. Of course, I don't like people being ground into bits, with all of that stuff. But I am also sure that there are so many different special effects houses working on this. Man, that's the industry, and there's going to be some that are going to complain, and but yeah, it's the juggernaut that's going to keep going.
Yeah.
But
it is kind of like it's back to the creator, the comic book writer, the young comic book writer creating something cool for Marvel. for dirt cheap, and then they go on and do their own thing.
Yeah.
You do a Marvel movie you get that on your resume, you can go work wherever you want.
Mm-hmm.
But
when the art sucks on a book, you do tend to leave it.
It's true. Yeah. Like, I mean, in fairness, like for me, the lowest of bars for Marvel VFX is the damn rhinos in Black Panther. Like they're just bad. And so
I think a lot of the effects in Black Panther are not great. I will
right,
go on record to say that.
But so whenever I see bad effects in a Marvel property, I'm just like, dude, it was better than the rhinos in Black Panther, which is still one of the greatest movies they've made. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So like, so what are you gonna do? Like, you just like, you know, it can't be perfect. If you want them out at the speed at which they're coming, like if you want, and I know that a lot of people say they don't want them out at this speed, but the reality is they have to do them at a certain speed because these actors ain't getting younger, especially when you use children in these movies too. You know what I mean? Like when you're using children, the timetables like escalate, or they accelerate like severely. So if they want to get to a young Avengers, they got to move fast, you know? And so
what's the over-under on any of the young Avengers being under 20?
Yeah, fast means things are gonna start slipping a little bit, you know.
Also, if the story, I mean, it's like if you've ever gone to like a movie preview where the special effects aren't finished yet, but if the story and the stuff is good enough, you'll still like enjoy it. And then like, the special effects be better, but like the special effects are really important. But if the story and the acting and this stuff isn't there, you know, it can't hold up the whole thing. So Black Panther, case in point, great movie. Yeah, it has bad rhinos, but those rhinos don't ruin the movie.
They definitely know how to min-max their movies for sure.
Yeah.
Do I like the way Jane's CG mask looks in Thor: Love and Thunder? No, I didn't, but I didn't bother to mention it last week.
It's cheaper than making one, right?
Well, no, she does have a real one sometimes, but it's the scenes where she makes it magically disappear that it has to be not on her face at all, period. And so like it looks bad. It looks a little bad, but like I've just grown to accept that like, it's never going to be perfect. You know, like this is not like the alternative is James Cameron working on Avatar for 80 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
or
if Avatar looks like shit, then we're in trouble.
If Avatar looks like poop, we are in trouble.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like you hear those nightmare stories, and sometimes in video game productions. I think there was one where for Parasite Eve, the Square spent $1 million on one scene with the rat that was disintegrating that they wanted to get just right. You know, I mean, like that's a waste of money to spend that much on one one little scene, and so sometimes just the effects, you're just not there, and so you just do the best of what you can.
Yeah. The other bad one that I always point to is Bruce Banner popping out of the Hulkbuster.
Yeah. His head is always looks like
that looks bad, which is also in Wakanda, coincidentally. So basically, just the special effects in Wakanda are bad. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. You tell me. You tell me when you.
Only one not affected by this problem. Eternals is great.
I like the effects in Eternals.
Yeah,
honestly,
that would be only recent content that I think has solid content.
Black Widow has some bad moments for sure.
But let's end on some good moments. Little bit of fluff to round out the news. Avengers Campus Paris opened this past weekend. They have it's pretty similar to the ones they have in California, but
no deaths.
No deaths, but check out this pretty sick Iron Man animatronic
that is
here.
Really cool.
Mark 80 he's with a Captain Marvel ride, I believe, is Iron Man and Captain Marvel Space Mountain edition.
That's an animatronic. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Well, that's all I got.
That's nice. Well, there was still some more stuff on there, right? I included some more news on there.
Yeah, I think we have some toys.
There were some, dude. So I thought it was really funny. Hasbro actually held a special video this morning to show off the new 3-pack of the Spideys. If you haven't seen Spider-Man No Way Home by this point, I just don't understand what you're doing. But yeah, there's 3 Spider-Men in that movie,
Different mold.
and Hasbro regretfully like was really bummed that they couldn't deliver product for that movie, like because they didn't know the big secret that 3 Spideys were going to show up. So what we got was the figures that we got in December were cool, but they were the only ones that Disney and Marvel were willing to like show. So what that means is you get to see the production time of action figures. So from the moment No Way Home came out, and the guys at Hasbro went and saw that movie and said, "What the hell? We need these." From that point to now, we now have mock-ups, and if you order these now, you will receive them next August 2023. That is the scheduled release date. They might come out earlier than that, but I know global shipping has just screwed up all their
3-pack, right? $80, $90.
It's a three pack. It's $90. Yeah,
$90.
But and a lot of fans are really bummed because no alternate heads.
Yeah.
But it does. They come. Each one of them comes with 3 sets of hands and a web line to swing off of. And
you get pointy finger hands.
You get pointy. No, I don't. They're not pointy. I don't think they're actually. It's web shooters, fists, and then wall crawling hands.
Oh.
Yeah, they're not pointy hands. I know. I know you want them to be. But the cool thing is like they showed in the video today. When you stand them all next to each other, they actually are the different heights. They're the appropriate heights. So these are all brand new builds that they made for the Toby and the Andrew. And if you see proportionally, they kind of look like
Andrew is a little skinnier.
Yeah, Andrew's skinnier, but look at the Toby. Like, did you go to him? That looks like an older Toby body for sure. It's pretty funny. I don't want to like body shame it, but like,
is his webbing raised?
It is. His and Andrew are both raised. They made a point of saying that. The webbing is raised on both of them. So yeah, that came out. But I thought it was really funny that they did this announcement today instead of next week at Comic-Con. And I was like, why would they do that? And my wife's like, because they don't want to be drowned out in the noise of Comic-Con next week. You know what I mean? And so like they're still trying to.
You think these will exist at Comic-Con in like their diorama?
Maybe. Yeah, probably. Well, actually, I don't know. These are digital renders, so it's possible they don't even have physical ones yet. We'll see. And then for fun, I just threw in some slides of other cool stuff that's going to be at Comic-Con. These Egg Attack figures are getting out of control, but there's an exclusive stealth mode Iron Man with the giant oversized egghead. I thought that was really cool. I would never buy these, but like I do own one of these that doesn't move. It's not posable at all.
The floating one, right?
He's got to light up eyes, and I think it's just crazy that at this point now they're making the same thing, but they're fully posable with their light up eyes and everything like that. It's pretty cool. I don't remember where that is, but I know this one. Ricky and I were talking about this today. Mattel has a Ghost Rider Hot Wheels, and it's freaking cool, right? Like,
it's pretty cool. The paint apps on this one, little case for it.
It's recreating his first appearance, and I think it's got a tiny little like cardboard diorama that goes with it. Like, that's awesome, man. I don't know. I don't like Hot Wheels, but this is really cool.
You gotta buy one for display and then buy one to open.
And then some other stuff I saw. I think this one was crazy. This is Mondo. Mondo actually put this thing up for sale today. It's a vinyl figure. They call it the pencil and ink version or something like that. It's a man thing, and it's just all black and white with just red eyes. It is quite impressive, but the price tag is quite impressive as well. It's like $275.
Oh,
it's been nuts.
Man thing fight. Who is this bad guy?
Pollution.
Bad guys in the swamp.
Pollution. Swamp
yeah, I couldn't tell you. And then Toy Inc. I don't know how to pronounce them. Is it Toy NK? I never know. They have little booths set up all over Comic-Con. But they always do like these really high quality movie reproductions. And this year they are going to have Moon Knight's crescent darts, which I think they look really cool.
Those look really good, and that's a nice case.
I have we have a set of the Wakanda beads from them that I couldn't resist.
These are heavy.
They are heavy. They're really cool.
I'm gonna get one of these and throw it.
But yeah, that's just a little bit of the swag I found. And by swag, that's the wrong word to use because it is not stuff we all get. It is stuff we wish we could all get. That's just a little taste. But then I think, Ricky, what we were gonna do is continue this little taste. That's why that was my little bridge into the next part. Why don't you hit the button and then I'll say why the button was not accurate. So normally this is where we would be doing Contest of Champions, but I talked to these guys today, Ricky and Clarke, and I said, hey, do you guys want to do a game, or do you want to just talk about the stuff that you're looking most forward to at Comic-Con? And Clarke decided for us and said, I want to talk about Comic-Con. And I'm like, you're the guest.
So I just gave my opinion, and you guys
It's true. It's true.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of thought, we don't have to do it officially as a game, but if you like, we could play a little Comic-Con bingo for what kind of things. First, if you want to, you can talk about the stuff that you are looking forward to seeing. But then I'm also kind of curious about the surprises that you think you could see or you hope you might see. Does that make sense? If you don't want to predict, you don't have to predict. But I'm just curious because I know you guys are down to clown for that Hall H Day.
Yeah, let's clown.
And you're gonna start with a giant Warner Brothers panel, and then you're gonna watch a bunch of crap in between, and then you're gonna end the day with Kevin Smith. You're gonna end the day with Marvel.
Yes.
And so I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious what you guys are looking forward to. Really,
take
Clarke, go first.
The thing I'm looking forward to most is Artist Alley. Just to reconnect with a number of artists that I haven't seen for years now. Yeah. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Patrick Ballesteros, who is just blown up. He's huge. And now he's mentioned in a lot of the literature. He's fantastic. Pascal Campion, who just had a very successful Kickstarter, and he always has a booth. He's one of my favorite artists. He's there. So that's my favorite. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the artists. Other things I'm looking forward to is I hope I can get into the panel for The Rookie, which is one of my favorite shows, starring Nathan Fillion.
Is it still on the air?
Oh, yeah.
Spinoff too, right?
They finished
the spinoff.
They're about to start a spinoff. So that's what they're gonna have more information on. They have 4 successful seasons. I watch them all. They're all available on Hulu. I highly recommend the show. If you're a Nathan Fillion fan, it's no question you'll enjoy The Rookie. It's great. So I've really enjoyed. I've watched it since season 1. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to the Star Trek panel once I fell in love with Strange New Worlds. And I feel guilty because more and more as I watch, Anson Mount is becoming one of my favorite captains. His Pike is
pretty
so
great,
good.
Dude. He's pretty great. I love him a lot. I liked him on that season of Discovery where they introduced him, but I love him on this show. Yeah,
100%. 100%.
I still don't think he's a great Black Bolt, though.
No. So I'm I watched watching the season, and I was angry at the end because there was only 10 episodes and I wanted more. I wanted so much more. So I'm hoping they're going to be announcing more, and I hope they take their time with it because I'm a little worried because they keep talking about we know how Captain Pike dies and he knows how he dies, and this is not a spoiler thing. It's all throughout the whole thing, and I'm like, stop talking about it.
I want.
No, that the whole thing is
that's how he ends up.
In Discovery, he sees a vision of his death 10 years from now. And so pretty much every episode of Strange New Worlds, he'll mention for one moment, he'll be like, yeah, I know I'm gonna die. And it's like, okay, can we move on past this? Like,
Yes.
the rest of the
Is-
show
is that-
always spectacular, but he's
Yeah.
always got to work it in there. And it's like, shut up, bro. We know you
Yeah.
know how you're gonna die.
Is it its own timeline or is it part of the Abrams verse?
No, it's part of the original.
It's part of the well,
sort, yeah.
it's part. I think it's part of the Abrams verse, but it's more specifically it's part of the Discovery.
But if you watch the pilot of Star Trek, the original series, it had Captain Pike, and then the very first Kirk episode, you find out what happens to Captain Pike. So I mean, that's canon. We know what happens with Captain Pike.
But Pike is also in the Abrams movies too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is so. But
he's not dead.
He's not dead.
Old age. Yeah.
No.
So.
Yeah. So it's the
Kelvin timeline is different. Yeah, I think it's its own timeline. It shares relationships with Discovery. That's so far.
But the big point is it's very classic Trek. The stories are very well written. The adventure, the whole crew feels like a Trek crew.
Yeah.
It's great. It's wonderful television.
Yeah, half the cast, Ricky, was introduced in the season 2 of Discovery. Because Discovery takes place before all other Star Treks, and so they cross over and like you meet Pike and Spock, and then Una, his number one. You meet these 3 characters, and they stay on that whole season pretty much until Discovery branches off and goes in their own way, and then this show, which started 10 weeks ago or 11 weeks ago, it takes place a year later after the events of Discovery.
Okay.
So yeah, it's cool. You don't need to watch Discovery though. Like you can just enjoy it. But like the guy who played Spock, I kind of hated him in Discovery, and I kind of love him now.
Oh, he totally grew into Spock.
He grew into it pretty good. Yeah, and Rebecca Romijn is just awesome on the show.
She is.
She's really good.
So you'll see more on Hall H for that. Things that I'm looking forward to, yes, I like. There's nothing like that energy on Hall H for when they make their announcements, and as you know, you call them commercial announcements, and then you know what, that's totally fair. But I like seeing that. Things that I would be surprised. What the heck they're going to do with the Flash movie? If Warner Brothers announces that would be fascinating.
Did they bring out Ezra? Do you think they? No.
Heck no.
They do not bring out Ezra because I don't think the authorities know where Ezra is.
Yeah, he'd be arrested on the stage.
Remember when they brought out Amber Heard and Johnny Depp? The last year we were there. That was insane when that happened. That was like the kickoff of that whole thing. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, do you think they show the Flash trailer?
I think so, because I think they just got to dump the Flash. I think they just I don't think they can recast. They just got to dump it and move on. But we'll see what they bring. I mean, movies that are still coming. We have Black Adam and Shazam, but we know those. What are they going to announce? Something new Batman. They're gonna pull some Batman thing. Yeah.
The sound's just gonna come on.
Yeah, like I kind of see. Here's my thing, and it's one of my biggest concerns. And not to stop you, you can still keep listing things, but it's been 3 years since Comic-Con has taken place.
Yeah,
I'm afraid that some of these panels are going to be really rushed because they're not only going to be trying to show you new content, they're also going to be doing a victory lap on the past 3 years because they didn't get to show you those things like at Comic-Con for 2 years. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's going to be a lot of remember this thing. Yeah, I saw it.
But if Warner Brothers moves the big giant curtains back and has that giant surround screen like they normally, they'll be happy.
It's.
Every time
the bar is so funny for you guys with that screen.
I know. I never forget when they first did it, and we were like, "Whoa!" I didn't even know the curtains did that
for the Hobbit.
Yeah,
for the Hobbit. Well, it was for Lord of the Rings. It was for the Hobbit. It had but so they're going to show some Lord of the Rings stuff because of the Amazon show, and things. And then Marvel, my guess is they're going to have Blade. And then I think they're going to finally announce X-Men.
I think they're gonna lead with Black Panther because that's the
Yes.
that's the
I think
next
they'll
movie.
lead with Black Panther. Yeah.
Ricky was very disappointed 2 weeks ago when Thor came out and there was no trailer for Black Panther, and I was like, bro, the Thor trailer only came out like 70 days before the movie came out or something.
When we were talking about that,
yeah, but it was still attached to Doctor Strange. They like to show the next thing during the thing, so
they like to do whatever they like to do, and you
I'm
like to think.
They slowly write the book on what they do.
But I'm like, hey, if it needs to cook some more, let it cook. I will always be like, let it.
I think they're saving it for Comic-Con. I think they are.
Yeah,
I think they are.
I mean,
I think the rumors are probably going to be true that they're going to go with Giancarlo Esposito for Professor X. That just seems to me like the trend, and we talked about before. He's awesome. He's a great actor.
I'm just curious. Are you guys aware? And I'm pretty sure Ricky is, but like, Frank in our little chat that we do, like, did you guys check out the spoiler video that he posted?
No.
So basically, presumably, the entire Marvel panel has leaked the contents of it, and so Frank posted a video of a guy that was asked to talk about those things on his podcast, and he lists them all off, but he also says he kind of weighs in on whether or not he believes them to be true or if they're just like too unbelievable. And so there's a lot. It's a lot, so much so that half of them have to be not true because there's no way you could fit that much in an hour, which is the time slot that they have.
Yeah.
And they're going to run late too. They're going to start late because everybody's
historically the Marvel leaky ship happens like Tuesday, Wednesday, like the days before. Not this still like a little far out, but
but I mean, Comic-Con has been away from the game for a few years, so I wouldn't be surprised if they have more leaks in their ship than they used to.
To Clark's point, I think they lead with Black Panther, kind of get that Band-Aid off, and then they go into some new stuff, and the stinger at the end is the X-Men. And they will either announce a director for the X-Men or a director for the Fantastic Four. I think one of those is going to happen out of all this.
So I'll try and I won't spoil the things from the spoiler things, but I will say what they said is the Fantastic Four will not be mentioned this week at Comic-Con because they're saving that one for D23. But there is X-Men rumors besides Giancarlo Esposito, but I won't spoil those for you either. But I had fun watching it because I know I'm not going to go to Hall H, and I was like, I watched it and I was like, that's cool, and I was like,
I think we get some Peacemaker action in Hall H.
You better, but see, that's a victory lap right there.
Well, we'll get a Peacemaker something, like probably a date on the next season. Because
John Cena's going to be there. If he's not there, I'd be shocked.
If they do the dance live in front of us, then that'll be worth it.
Oh, so yeah. Would you regret it then, Dennis, or no? If they do the dance,
you'll record it.
Yeah, I think we'll get a James Gunn in both panels.
The thing you're missing though is like, and I'm not knocking you guys for doing it, but like every opportunity for laughter or screaming is one more time that 5,000 people are opening their mouths and exhaling simultaneously. And that's what I'm a little nervous about. Like,
I mean,
do I like being in those experiences on any normal day? Hell yeah. On any normal day, those are super fun things to do and be at. But
I haven't timed because the symptoms won't start kicking in for 2 days afterwards, and that's the end.
I know that, Clarke. I know. But yeah. It's just
I mean, it's just exciting to be back, and I have my little rituals on.
But look, as you said,
you guys.
Yeah, I'm fully vaxxed up. I will be wearing the mask. I will do what I can, but it's just like I will not let fear dictate my actions.
Nah, it's not about fear. It's just about
I
like,
know.
do I need that? And just to be clear, I came to that realization like at the last D23 I went to also, which was what was it? That was 2019 as well, I think, right? And like that one had a Marvel panel, and we looked at what was going to be required to get in there, and we're just like, I don't know that I care that I'm in this thing.
Right.
And so we ended up not doing it. And sure enough, I got back to my hotel at the end of the day, a nice day we had, just doing fun, weird things that weren't, the studio trying to sell us stuff. And when I got back to my hotel, I got to read She-Hulk. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, I was still happy. And I still get to have that memory of being excited for it. So don't get me wrong, I will be following the events that occur in Hall H.
There's plenty of ways to have fun. And I think it's great, that even though I have decades of wonderful experiences with you in Hall H, we're not bound at the hip, and that's perfectly fine that we're going to go and do different stuff, and we're both going to have a great time. But I think it's great that we're able to choose what we want to do.
That's my favorite part about Comic-Con.
Yeah. And then we're just going to talk about it, and we'll tell each other our stories afterwards. And I'm with Alina, Ricky, and I are with some of our other friends that we've met over Comic-Con, and we're going to be sitting in line and telling stories and having fun and having our, having that experience, which is, one experience. And there's other stuff. There's always so much to do at Comic-Con. It's always a trade-off. And so I'm very happy that you're going out and doing other stuff. And then I get to hear the stories about what you experience and vice versa. So I think it's cool.
So just some weird, so Lindsay and I did some perusing of the calendar to try and find interesting, smaller scale things that we might want to do. Like, like the first day kicks off with like a panel on disability representation on and off screen. I was like, I don't know that I'll go to it, but I like that they have that. I like that it exists. Ricky actually sent you an invite to another one that's going to be at 11 o'clock on Thursday, which is Podcasting 101.
Oh, I'm already in it.
What's that?
I'm already signed up.
You're already signed up. How are you signed up? You can't sign up. There's no sign-ups.
We're on the panel.
Oh, okay. We're on the panel. Yeah. How to break into voice acting is on Thursday as well, Clarke, if that's something you're interested in.
I also saw one, how comics make video games better than ever.
Yeah.
That was a panel I thought looked interesting.
Indie Toy Makers Unite. That's another cool one. And so I'm just kind of looking at all these small ones. I know, that I've talked to Lindsay about it. I know I spend a lot of time on this show talking about Marvel Legends all the time. They have a panel on Friday at 12:30. I'm on the fence. I'm like, I think I always feel like compelled to go to it, but it is also a commercial. So I'm just,
Are you trying, Clarke, for the Marvel Studios animated panel?
I was thinking about it, but probably not, because I do like going to some of the smaller panels. I remember a few years ago, I really wanted to see a panel starring one of my favorite Japanese artists, Yoshitaka Yamano, who designed a lot of the Final Fantasy characters. And so I went to the panel before to try to make sure to get my seat, and it was a panel about steampunk, and it was led by a author who just had a new series come out called Game of Thrones. So George R.R. Martin's there leading this panel. This is the year that Game of Thrones came out, so it wasn't crazy yet. But like, I remember how great it was to just sit in those smaller panels and enjoying, the small things. I do miss that. And so on some days, so Saturday, that'll be Hall H and stuff. But the other days, I'm gonna try to make some of those smaller ones.
Yeah,
I like it.
And then Ricky, I know we hadn't gotten to you yet. I know you're going to be doing a lot of the same stuff as Clarke on Saturday, but like, what is the stuff that you're looking most forward to? And then like, I think I do want an answer from both of you guys about like, what's the thing, the wish of all wishes that you kind of hope to see at that Marvel panel this week or next week?
I mean, my Comic-Con, the Wednesday, it's first kickoff day 0, as we call it, preview night, is spent with you guys, and then we kind of part for the rest of the week. But I usually Wednesday and Thursday morning, I'm shopping. I'm doing every bit of shopping that I need to do, every bit of shopping that I want to do, buying stuff I need and also don't need, so I can get it done with. And then usually by lunchtime, I'm kind of out and about exploring the different pop-ups and activations. Some of them get super elaborate, so I'm pretty stoked for the Severance one. That one seems pretty cool.
I hear they operate on your brain.
Yeah, I hope so. There's a
you only remember it when you go to Comic-Con.
Yeah. What else is it? There's a ton. There's always a ton of cool shit to do. I always get my party on during Comic-Con. It's a great excuse to day drink, so I never let that possibility go up. And then
our guests, Joel and Eric, have invited Ricky and I to go drink with them in their hotel each day if we want to. So, I may visit them once or twice, but I don't think I can do the whole thing. But that's gonna be rough.
I usually get my party on so that by the time Friday afternoon rolls around, I am ready to not do anything for the next 12 hours. And that very conveniently is when we need to be in line for Hall H. And yeah, I mean, what is this, 6 years with Clarke, right?
You do burn the candle at both ends pretty hard. I
mean, it's the one time of the year where I really don't sleep. I am usually in bed by, between 1 to 3 a.m. and then I'm back at Comic-Con between 6 to 7 a.m. It's a pretty brutal schedule I try to live by, but I love it. It's all for the fun of it. It's all to see everybody. It's hanging out with Clarke, hanging out with everyone in our Hall H line. I was joking with Dennis and Lindsay earlier, there's no greater feeling than getting into Hall H after the 12 hours, sitting down, and then immediately going up to go buy my $30 pizza and hot dog and soda. I love it. I really do love it all. And for me, at least, that excitement is just something that, I rarely get to that level of excited in my life. So I take those moments.
Normally don't like screaming.
Yeah, I'm not a yeller. I'm not a screamer. So those moments are really something special with me and sharing them with Clarke and sharing them with Alina. Yeah,
that's cool. But what are your do you have predictions or hopes what you want to see? Because I know you always say if they don't do this, I'm gonna flip tables. I'm gonna be pissed.
I know The Rock's gonna be there, but I want to see The Rock do cool shit. He needs to do the eyebrow raise. Is this the first Rock Comic-Con panel, right?
No.
What was he there last time for?
I mean, pick a piece of crap that he's slung at us over the last
15
years.
He was there for San Andreas.
Yes.
He was there.
He has been at Comic-Con
many
times. Many times.
Superstar of The Rock. It's always cool to see him.
The Scorpion King. I'm pretty sure he was there for the Scorpion King.
I'm just afraid that he's going to be there for the Super Pets.
I mean, that movie had the good chance
of Black Adam.
Money, so
yeah.
But the Marvel thing
is somewhere, I think, right? Yeah. I think they're screening it that week at somewhere at Comic-Con.
Super Pets.
Yeah, an advanced screening.
There's a premiere going on down there too. The Prey movie, the Predator Prey movie, is premiering down there.
But that's gonna be a Hulu movie, so I'll just watch it on Hulu.
I don't think it comes up for another month though. It'd be kind of cool.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I hope we get something that's not on the radar for Marvel. Again, I know we were kind of speculating and teasing on the stuff that we kind of know. We know there's an X-Men. We know there's a Fantastic Four. We know there's more Loki. You can kind of slot the pieces. It's just more about the win, right? But I hope they really surprise us with something that really is new.
Well, I mean, some other stuff that we've mentioned over the last few months, the Wonder Man is in the works, right? That's something that could be there.
The Black Knight movie.
Yeah,
maybe. The cast of Blade would be nice because, you'd assume if there's a Blade, there's hopefully a Dracula. That's a Marvel character. Everybody's got a Dracula, but Marvel has their own version that I'd prefer to not be the one from Blade Trinity. So,
Drake.
Rob Zombie's the monster. Maybe they'll be the The Dracula he fights.
Okay, just really quick. Have you guys seen that trailer?
Yeah, I've seen that trailer. Have you seen it, Clark?
No.
Oh,
Rob
oh,
Zombie, the
shit.
Monster.
I
Rob
liked it.
Zombie is directing a Monsters movie.
I liked it. Cal Soto wants to know, Ricky, will you go to the Tron dance party on Friday?
I can. It's only for D23 members.
Oh, that's awkward.
Yeah, it was. I was trying to buy tickets since you need to be a member.
You know, membership's free, right?
I think it's like the whatever gold or whatever.
Oh, is it gold members?
It is a tiered thing. I didn't look too far into it, but I would love to go to the Tron thing though. I went to the 30th 10 years ago, so it'd be cool to go to the 40th.
Yeah.
So real quick, I would just say the thing that I want to see most, even though we know it's coming, but I want the announcement of what they're doing with Daredevil. I was just so happy to see him. I want it sooner rather than later. I want to know if it's going to be a Disney Plus show, how they're going to do it. Love my Daredevil. And even though I know it's coming, I want to know it's coming sooner because I just love that character. I love that he's coming back, and I want to know it.
I believe the show is being rebranded Daredevil, the Man Without Fear.
Yeah.
It might either be the season or the entire show, but that was something that I heard recently is going to be done. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other stuff, but I did again, I don't want to spoil any of the stuff, but I have seen a lot of predictions for things that could happen. And I think if half of them are true, I think you guys are going to have a fun time. It's going to be cool. But I definitely feel like, our plan should be to update, at least something on
we'll go live in Hall H. We'll record the panel.
Go live in Hall H.
Yeah, you want subscribers? Let's get them, baby.
Yeah, but just as a reminder of all the things that are potential that you guys have left off the board, Ryan Reynolds as a Deadpool.
I don't think that's
true.
possible.
Deadpool 3. They've been talking about that. They know. They say they know how that's going to fit in the Marvel MCU. So,
Secret Invasion.
Mm-hmm. The show.
More likely.
The show. Yeah. There are rumors that they're still trying to make some sort of World War Hulk story.
Mm-hmm. That I think they saved for D23 because I think it'll make sense then.
Yeah, I don't. I think the plan is for that to be a limited series on Disney Plus because that way they don't have to pay Universal. Because if it's a movie, it's way more complicated. Right. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is already done filming, so there's a really good chance. So my prediction is any of the stuff that's already done filming, they're more likely to bring out the cast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because if it hasn't started filming, the COVID risk is too high. But if they're in the can already, there's no risk.
I don't think they'll miss an opportunity to have James Gunn return to Hall H after the pulling of the last. That's when it kicked off, right? That last Comic-Con.
I think so. I don't remember.
He was there for Brightburn or whatever, or something like that. But I don't think they would miss an opportunity to have a standing ovation.
Well, those guys are done filming. Black Panther's done filming. And then I think the Marvels is done filming, right? So you could probably count on those three to show up. But I would say, if it's anything else outside of that, including a potential X-Men casting kind of thing, you're probably looking at photos or taped videos.
The title cards.
Videos or title cards and stuff,
Patrick Stewart in the chair is going to come out.
I really don't think you're going to see a live-action Patrick Stewart even at the Picard thing.
In the chair.
I would be shocked if Picard is at Comic-Con to promote Picard.
No.
Shatner's going to be there.
Nope.
Who is going to be there?
Shatner has his own panel.
Yeah, Shatner has his own panel. Right?
Shatner clearly doesn't care about his health, and honestly, I think Shatner's in better health.
He's in 90.
Yeah, he might be, but he's in better health. I think. I don't know. Patrick Stewart seems to have a lot of allergies or things like that. Like learning about why he wore the jacket in later seasons of TNG. was, it had to do with some sort of allergy thing or something. And then like I know that in the season of Picard, he had his vocal cords were affected by the smoke they used in one of the scenes, and he ended up sounding a lot more sickly through the show because of it. Yeah, I'm not saying he's like on his way out. I'm just saying like every time I've seen Shatner, he seems in higher spirits than Patrick.
You went to space.
He has money.
I'm just wagering that I think COVID risk is probably too high for Patrick Stewart. So don't count on that.
But I would love to. I think what would make me really excited is to see Iman Vellani,
I wouldn't
the
be
topic of
surprised
today's show.
because she's probably not going to get sick. Yeah,
she's probably not going to get sick. She's a fan, and it's always cool. Like with the Simu.
I'd be shocked if she was there. Yeah.
It's those kinds of moments are really touching, and I think they have one of those every panel, and it'd be nice to see something like that this year.
Well, I'm excited for you guys, but we can chat more about it in a couple weeks and see how it all was. Mm-hmm. But yeah, let's move on to the thing. I mean, if there's anybody who's watching this show live or later, and you happen to go to Comic-Con, or you always wanted to go to Comic-Con, let us know what kind of stuff is interesting to you, and we can talk about it more in a future show or something like that. Because I promise you, this will be an event for us all. It means something different to all of us, but it means something to all of us for sure. So we could talk endlessly about Comic-Con, and so I'm glad that you guys took time to do that. But yeah, let's talk about the other thing now.
Let's do it.
I said wait because Ricky just messaged me and said there's no video, and I'm like, yeah, there is. And then he messaged me again and said, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a video, and we just played it for everybody, and it's a lovely video that I made for Miss Marvel, which will no longer be playing before this anymore. But yeah, Miss Marvel, we're going to talk about that right now because we waited long enough. Sorry about that. I just really wanted to take some time to talk about Comic-Con. But now it's time for Miss Marvel. We're talking about episode 6. It's the final episode of the season. I don't know if there's going to be more seasons than this, but spoiler warning. For those of you who haven't watched it yet, please turn away and come back when you have. You can thank us later. I mean, with that said, I don't know. Like, did you not know she was going to end up being Miss Marvel at the end of the show? Like
oh my God,
maybe it's not that spoilery. So maybe if you're still here, I guess you can stick around. Like, it's not rocket science, guys. Like, this season ended with Miss Marvel getting her suit and embracing the name and saving the day. And the title of the episode was No Normal. And Disney Plus was nice enough to write this really generic explanation of the episode, which is back in Jersey, Kamala finds Cameron and protects him from damage control, who will stop at nothing to take him in. And yeah, I guess that's the show, but like they kind of missed some of the charming parts of it, but I guess that was intentional, right? I just wish they wrote these as good as the guys who do The Boys write theirs, because The Boys write-ups are amazing, and they actually do make you immediately remember what that episode is about. This was like, okay, yeah, I guess you're right, Disney Plus, but like, you missed so much.
You just got to fill the text on the screen, right?
I know. But Clarke, since you are our special guest, why don't you go first and tell us? After you let us know what you think, I have that fun way we can do this where we can break down each of the characters if you want.
Okay.
But first, you just tell us what you thought of this show overall.
Okay. I loved this show, overall. It was just really fun. I enjoyed it. Of course, there was some negative stuff, and they had a little dragon at the end, and I'll get to. I really did not like. Well, I talked about how Damage Control was trying to be the villain, and then they just was so generic. I'll get the negative stuff out of the way. The lady who is going to shoot people in front of a crowd and cops, and I'm like, really? Like,
yeah, I think it ended up being. It's not really that Damage Control is the villain.
yeah,
It's that Agent Deaver
Agent
of
Deaver of
Damage
Damage
Control.
Yeah,
Control.
I mean,
was
they
just
set her up as
off-
like
Yeah,
with their microaggressions. This is why these people are not supposed to have powers or the wrong
It's just a-
Cardboard, cookie
just-
cutter,
it's
government
just a racist
bad
lady
person. Yeah,
who's in a position of power that shouldn't be, ends up exploiting that power, and then at the end she's pretty much fired, and it's like, okay, cool.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
that was meh. That being said, though, they had to jam, I think, a little too much. I kind of wish they would have gotten some of this stuff out before the 6th episode. But yes, getting her, having them as Marvel. But I love her relationship with her dad. I love that talk. I love that scene, which was great. The embiggen was awesome. I wasn't sure. I wasn't expecting them to actually go that, because since they had already shown the light powers and they changed it, I wasn't expecting them to try to adapt the embiggen powers too. But that actually, worked fine with me. And then, I think I really like that costume. I think she looks great in it. I think it's great that, again, having a young Pakistani teenager who's not a model, not a toothpick supermodel,
Yeah.
thing. She's a real girl, and it's a great show. As I said, the whole thing was really fun. It was really great seeing sort of that window into Pakistani culture and stuff, and knowing that the whole show was written and written, shot, and produced, and everything by people who knew what they were talking about and stuff. It was a great show, and so I was really happy with it at the end. So I think a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think when you said the embiggen thing, for me, I think that was the greatest nerd moment in that show, because I think we even talked about that last week, right? We're like,
you were doubting the embiggen.
I was like, do they do the embiggen? How did they do the embiggen? And when she said it, I felt a little weird at first, because I was like, well, there was like zero setup for that. Like, she didn't like learn the word embiggen in school or anything. She just said it, and I was like, okay, but she said it, and then she did it, and I was like, that's cool, because like I think that's the thing that like really pisses me off about so many of the, I don't know, quote, fans that I see online all the time hating on these things, is like, they don't have patience. They don't have patience. They don't have patience for the MCU, even though the MCU is cranking stuff out at an all-time high, like rate. You know what I mean? Like
they'll complain about how much it's cranking out, and then say, "But how come they're waiting to give us stuff?"
Yeah, I think it's just like this Disney Plus model was, people weren't ready for it. You know what I mean? And so like to have to dole out 6 parts of your story over the course of 6 weeks is really, it's been kind of frustrating, because some weeks are really strong, other weeks are like meandering, right? And so it's harder to look at the thing as a whole, because you're like, I do remember feeling good 6 weeks ago, but then I also really remember feeling annoyed last week. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But like if it was a movie, it wouldn't be in the same way. Like, right? Like there are things that bugged you about Thor: Love and Thunder, right, Ricky? Yeah. But like overall, you like the movie.
Yeah, you take the whole meal. You don't nitpick the pieces.
Yeah, but like this, we can't help but nitpick the pieces, because
they're written by different chapters.
Sometimes, they're in chapters, but sometimes they're written by different people.
That's right.
Sometimes they're directed by different people. Like Book of Boba Fett. Some of those episodes are terrible, and some are amazing. And so it's really weird, because there's an inconsistent storytelling that's going on within the story. But I think Miss Marvel is one of those things where a lot of people wanted to shoot this show down as soon as they saw that trailer, because they're like, they changed her powers. She's not an Inhuman. She's not doing stretchies. Garbage. And I was like, I don't know, man. I kind of feel like Kevin Feige knows what he's doing, and there is that fist in the trailers, and so like the fist gave me hope. It gave me hope, and I think what you said is true. Is they crammed a little too much in, right? So like
Mhm.
I kind of thought if Embiggen was going to happen, it would have been maybe last week, so that
Yeah.
like she could do it again
Mhm.
this week, But like,
Mhm.
so that's why I kind of wasn't expecting Embiggen, because we'd gone that long without any indication that she even knew how to do that, and she kind of pulled that rabbit out of a hat, right? Like in this
Mhm.
episode, like
Yeah.
you didn't expect it because
No.
we'd never seen her do that in the show, but she did it. Yeah, but when she
and I'm
did
with
it,
you. I don't care. It was still fun. It was still exciting.
yeah,
And I'm like, great. I'm glad you did it.
And in that moment, she was
Mhm.
finally Miss Marvel, right?
Yeah.
Like that was,
Mhm.
and so, if you're patient, it all works out. It all becomes,
Mhm.
it does do the
Mhm.
thing.
I had zero doubts about the Embiggen. I don't
That's
think you could
good.
do that show without the Embiggen. To that point, I think it was a 7 out of 10 Embiggen. I would have liked her to yell Embiggen, not whisper Embiggen.
You
But
mean
I'll
like
take
when
what I can
Captain
get.
America said, "Avengers assemble"?
I didn't love that either. I like that he said it, so I'll take it. I know we're not gonna get another one.
I'm in the Ricky school on that one, but it's all good.
Take what you get.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I will say, I don't think like her head got bigger when she embiggened.
It did, right? Her head
Yeah.
looked bigger.
I don't know if they worked that one out.
Her head looked a little bigger than it should have.
Everything about the embiggen was great, but the head, I was like thinking to myself, well, she doesn't have like head growing powers.
But I did appreciate that at least her knees were way high and her
Right.
elbows were way high.
Yeah, she was lanky. She wasn't like proportionately bigger.
She wasn't proportionately correct.
It wasn't Mr. Fantastic super stretch, but it was the embiggen.
Yeah, there's a body inside an energy suit. Yeah.
The silhouette was correct, including the head, but I think the way her powers work, the head makes it a little weird. But I'm willing to see a better Embiggen in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah. But the point really is that like they made you wait 5 episodes, but by the 6th episode, they fulfilled the promise of giving you Miss Marvel. They gave you everything that she's supposed to do, minus, the color of it. They changed the color scale on it a little bit.
And I was already really happy watching her just run across the city. The fact that she had gotten like sort of mastering her power, not mastering because she has a lot to learn, but being in control of her powers enough that she's running over the city and people are looking up and smiling. You get that Spider-Man vibe.
It felt very Spider-Man.
Totally. So I was already on board, and then when you added this, it was like an extra.
I was going to say like early 2000s, early aughts comic movie of an ending, because like I feel like if this was the typical Marvel movie, the ending wouldn't have wrapped up as nicely or with a bow on it as it did, before the post credits.
It was a bit of a bow on it before the post credits, it was
the
more than I
accept
thought.
her. They defeat the police as a community, and she runs away. She
and then nobody's coming to leave the mess. Like, this is
Bruno's
a teenage
not in
girl
jail for life or nothing.
In fairness, they kind of leave Peter Parker alone after they find out, right? Like that kind of died down also. So I guess teenagers are just allowed to be superheroes in this universe. But like the what you were saying is the it is very cookie cutter, but at the same time,
I like it though.
It needed to be, right. It needed to be so that it could just, because I don't mind if it's a show and it's an origin story and it gets all that heavy lifting out of the way so that we can have fun, crazy adventures with her and Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau. And like they can go do.
They didn't present it as They didn't present it as anything other than from the start, though. Like it's not like a Moon Knight situation, like where Moon Knight's a little funky at the end. Like he's not like it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And you had a child abuse in one of the episodes. It's a totally different tone, and it works for that. But they're not trying to apply that same logic to Miss Marvel, and I think it's better
No.
for it.
This was always a show for teens
Mhm.
that the rest of us can enjoy, and that's what I like.
Do I think the villains were horrible in this show? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I still don't know which one was the actual villain.
I
Was
mean,
it
I don't
Kamran? Was
really
it
need-
Najma? Was it Damage Control? Was it none of them? Because they all sucked. They were all terrible, but like they were all just excuses for her to move forward. But
Yeah.
like I think the things that make her most unique are, aside from her being a young girl who doesn't have the supermodel body like Clarke was saying, a young Muslim girl who is very much into that, into her faith, and I think the other cool part about it is she's a superhero that straight up sat down and had a conversation with her whole family to tell them that she's a superhero.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That is the coolest part, I think, about Miss Marvel, in my opinion.
Okay, and so which forces me to bring up the gripes, which again, having the family then yell Kamala when she's in danger, like, okay, secret identity, and
Yeah.
the
Obviously,
Spider-Man
you know who
mask
she
thing,
is.
or how many times she lifted her mask up just to talk. I'm like, no, you don't have to do that.
One, you could tell who it is with that stupid mask on.
Yes.
Even with the piles of makeup. I was kind of grossed out by the amount of makeup she was wearing on that.
Gotta look at her
especially-
shoes.
What was that? And the shoes too. The shoes are so
She's so
obviously
odd.
Kamala. But yeah, there's downsides to it. But maybe she's just the hero that her whole community knows, because her
Yeah.
friend Zoe immediately knew who it was without
Yeah.
ever,
And
It-
clearly the community supports her.
yeah,
which-
I'm
which
fine
is
with
what
it.
I like.
They-
Yeah,
yeah.
it's my
Secret
little
identity.
superhero gripe that I get over, but part of the acting, want to see their face and stuff, but but the family needs to stop yelling Kamala when they see
Probably.
her in front. I
But
mean,
they're adorable. They're adorable.
They
for
are.
One
and
time.
I 100% agree with you how refreshing it is to have her finally come and talk with them and have them accept it. And I loved how they're like, yeah, we already know, because once you tell your mom, she told her dad, she told
That's
that
how it
whole
would go.
scene. Yeah, that's exactly how it would go. And it was great. I mean, that was the whole thing that made me just fall away from Arrow and Flash, is that after year, I have to lie to the people that I love to protect them. Just dragged on just so much. But this was, that was very, very refreshing. And I have zero problem with making her be a mutant instead of an Inhuman, flipping that.
Oh,
I gotta-
yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
and the rift, I'm like, you know what? That's great.
That is
Did
now
you guys-
twice in 2 months that they've used that music. In the
Do you
MCU.
guys take it as Bruno is the first person to know about mutants?
No,
Or Bruno's just
no,
smart
he's
enough
the
to figure
first
it out?
person. It's not really that at all. It's just that they're paving the way in a clever way by letting
Yeah.
a character that people wouldn't assume is a mutant be a mutant.
Do you think that means she'll play with not that she'll play with the X-Men, but I think a lot of people that I've seen on the internet were hearkening or honing in on the fact that, does that make her an X-Men? Is she now an X-Men now?
I mean, not every mutant. It's a Venn diagram, right? Not every mutant
Yeah.
is an X-Men.
But even in the comics, it's not like she hangs out with the Inhumans all the time.
You play that song though, right?
Well, that song is just to let you know
That
what
was
she
that was
is.
to the audience.
Yeah.
That was a little.
She
Here you
didn't hear the
go.
song. She
Yeah.
didn't
I know
hear the
that,
song.
but I guess the mutants as a collective don't have a song, so you got to play the X-Men theme.
But it does beg the question, if you use the song twice in the last 2 or 3 months, right? Because they used it for Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, that when
Mhm.
Professor X comes out, they play the X-Men cartoon theme song.
They
And
are having the continuation of the animated show on Disney
right. We
Plus.
know that the
Yeah.
animated show is coming back after a 30-year break or 25-year break, whatever. We know that that's going to be on Disney Plus, and they're actually going to have a panel on Friday at Comic-Con.
Mhm.
So, they might just be being cute right now. But if they're not being cute, I wouldn't mind if the new X-Men franchise uses
100%.
that music, just like Spider-Man uses the iconic
Oh,
Spider-Man
yeah.
music.
Yeah,
what I mean?
I would expect nothing but
Because I think the reality is excuse me, the majority of X-Men fans today are X-Men fans because of their love of that cartoon, so
I mean, love or hate the Justice League, but they played the Batman '89 music when Batman showed up for a reason.
They play Superman's music too.
Yeah,
they play Superman's music, and so
do it. Take that iconic music that's with them, and I love it because I loved how they did. You're exactly right. How they incorporated it with Spider-Man, with the Tom Holland Spider-Man is so great.
Mm-hmm. They used it in the Sam Raimi movies too for fun, but never as the theme song of the movie.
Yes,
and so I like that they just embraced it in the Tom Holland Spider-Mans. So I'm okay with it if they want to, but I don't think it means that Kamala has to be an X-Men. But it doesn't. It also doesn't mean that she can't try to be an X-Men too. So, she's definitely had team ups with Wolverines in the comics and stuff. So, I think the real point of that moment is just to say, wink, wink. We've been holding off on this a while, but here it's time.
Let me throw this follow-up question: is she? I don't say is she the first mutant. But are the other mutants yet to be activated? Or
Namor is the first mutant. Okay. And I was surprised that you didn't break that news last week, by the way, Ricky.
You want the pictures?
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to show the pictures just yet.
You didn't want to show the pictures? Are you aware of the pictures, Clarke?
Yes.
The production art leaked, I think, a week or two ago.
2 weeks ago.
For what appears to be Namor.
Namor and Ironheart got their stuff.
I saw Ricky's post
in the upcoming Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and I think we've kind of toyed with that. I think Ryan.
I like his look a lot.
I love it. Cool. I love it. Cool. I think
it's regal.
Yes,
he has the wings. He has the booty shorts, but it doesn't look weird.
But here's the thing: what makes it easier to accept when he says. When they tell you he's the first mutant, is the audience has already been prepped and primed by Miss Marvel, and they were even primed again earlier with Professor X.
There's another photo if you want to see the other photo. I didn't share it.
No. We're not. I'm not trying to over spoil. I'm just saying, it's been known among a lot of fans that for many years now that Ryan Coogler was most likely going to use Namor as a villain or antagonist in a Black Panther.
He's on record saying he wanted to use Namor for a while.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
They couldn't play with Namor in the last one.
Yeah. So it makes sense that, if you're going to go, because Namor is a ridiculous mutant because he's an Atlantean that happens to be, his mutant ability is he's an Atlantean with wings on his ankles. The Atlantean part. What's that?
He swims faster?
No, he flies.
Okay. I didn't know that.
He can fly. He's better than Aquaman because he can fly.
Okay.
Is he more popular than Aquaman? Nah, because he's a dick. He's a dick. But that's what makes him more interesting too.
He's older than Aquaman, isn't he? Historically?
Yeah, historically. Well, he's the first mutant. He's the first.
Sorry, he appeared before Aquaman.
But yes,
by a long time.
Yes.
He's a character from the World War II era.
He appeared way before mutants.
Yeah, he did. They retconned him to be a mutant.
Yeah.
And you could also argue that Selene or Apocalypse are technically the first mutants too, but historically, in the current comics, Namor actually has a title, a comic line called Namor the First Mutant.
Is that Apocalypse the first mutant?
No, I think Selene is actually, who's a member of the Hellfire Club.
On the topic of retcons, I think this
unless you go the
might be a potential retcon. I'm gonna have to enunciate. Do you think that was the Nega Band?
The quantum bands or the Nega bands? Yeah, I still think it is the bands that caused Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel to switch places, almost Freaky Friday style. I still think the bangles are going to be revealed to be the quantum or Nega bands or whatever, the items that were possessed by Quasar in the comics.
They gave him his powers in the comics.
I think they did. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
That's
So,
I was thinking that too.
yeah,
Just the way they look
That's a
and the,
pretty
and the way
cool
they light up. Yeah,
loop around. I kind of like it. I like it a
Mhm.
lot, actually.
yeah,
yeah.
and it's not, it works. You got to have more artifacts because, like, we spent a whole 10 years on Infinity Stones, but there's way more other crap in the Marvel universe that they can lean on. Like so.
Mhm.
Let's go with it. Let's go with the nega bands, and that means, or the quantum bands. So I can't remember what they're called, but that does mean there's another one somewhere out there because there's two.
Yeah.
So hopefully Comron doesn't get it, and then they have equal fights all over again. I hate that. I used to be more tolerant of it, but like talking to our
Talk
friend
about bad
Oliver.
VFX.
Oliver hates when the villain is just a mirror.
It's so dumb. I
The
hate it.
bad
of
version
the
of
hero.
yeah.
I saw a TikTok the other day,
No,
and I know it's a bit of
misunderstood version.
I know this is a bit of a tangent, and I will bring it back to Miss Marvel, but like I saw a video the other day of somebody trying to argue whether or not The Batman was a better movie than Logan, and people are like shutting him down and saying, "What are you even talking about?" And like I ended up chiming in. And I'm like, I don't know. I kind of think both movies are okay. But like my biggest thing is I still don't understand why people love Logan as much as they do when that movie ends with him fighting another Wolverine. I'm like, that is do you know how many awesome villains Wolverine has? And you just cloned him and made him fight another Hugh Jackman and force people to do VFX for stupid reasons. I hate that. I hate it so much. So when Miss Marvel just ends up fighting Kamran, who has the exact same powers as her, I'm like, come on.
Who just gets the same powers as like without the band.
Yeah, he got them without the band. Well, yeah, and so like,
and why did his mom not use those powers before?
So wait, is Kamran a mutant too?
They just wait. I think all Jinn are mutants, right? Because that's what they are.
I don't know, dude. Well, not all of them, because like the rest of the family is all descended of Jinns too.
Well, maybe not everyone carries a gene or whatever.
Well, that's the point of mutants.
You just wave a hand over it, and
the whole family
for
are Jinn.
Kamala, it could be the crystals are the Jinn bloodline, but the Embiggen is the mutation.
Yeah, we got the costume. We got the Embiggen.
Yeah,
I got Brie Larson. I'm satisfied. I'm good.
I think it falls apart if we overanalyze it. So let's not.
Yes.
Let's not. It's
so
everything it needed
let's go back again to Brie Larson, which I was actually very happy to see. That was exactly what I wanted. Just a little cameo at the end that clearly sets right up to the movies, and I was like, okay, there it was.
It made me really happy because Ricky and I were debating about it last week, and I feel that we found a way for both of us to be right.
Dennis is
I was certain that Captain Marvel was not going to meet Miss Marvel at the end of this show. And Ricky wanted to be certain that Brie Larson was going to be at the end of the show. Hey, we both got to win. We both got to win. Because, I just think that's their meeting is for the movie. It's going to be better for the movie.
And I agree with Ricky. I wanted to see her. So
Nia DaCosta, the Marvel director, directed that scene too. So it looks the director of the Marvel did that scene.
Okay.
And it looks a lot better, I think, than the
it does.
effect on it.
It's a better.
It's almost like a different lighting.
Yeah. It could be a different time of the day. We don't know. Who knows? But you know what I am bummed about is that show kind of lost the thread of the cool Scott Pilgrim like effects. It really did.
The last episode had none of them.
Yeah,
didn't have the cool text messages.
That kind of bummed me out that we just lost that, because I thought that's what made the show charming, and I wanted to see
the chalkboard scene. That was a little bit of that.
Yeah, right? Sure, but that's like,
that was it.
But that's something that I don't think is going to continue in the movie. And I kind of a little bummed. Like maybe that comes back in a season 2 or whatever if they do it.
Yeah, it would be interesting if it came back in the movies, but it's okay. Like I understand it was never gonna stay, but I really found it charming, and I hoped to see more of it through the show. And it was just like, I think that's like what the big complaint I have of the show is like, tonally and like and visually, it's not consistent, right? Like once she goes to like time travel land, the show just becomes a totally different show for a little while.
Yeah.
And that's fine if they want to, but I thought I knew the ride I was in for from the beginning. You know, I feel bad. What happened to Mr. Wilson? That guidance counselor was freaking awesome.
He was in the TikTok.
What?
He was in the TikTok.
The TikTok was dumb. Like I just didn't. I felt like nobody was as excited as they should be for having a superhero in their community.
If I had to pick the one gripe, there's an establishing shot of New York City, and the Statue of Liberty's there, and it looks pretty green. Doesn't have a shield.
Well, I don't know. They decided not to do the shield after that whole thing.
I mean, the Statue of Liberty got pretty fucked up in Spider-Man. So I don't know when this takes place. If it takes place before or after Spider-Man.
I didn't have a gripe with that because
I would like to think the Statue of Liberty would not look pristine. Though.
I thought there was something where they decided at the end of the movie not to go forward with doing it because of the destruction that happened. I thought it was in the news.
It wouldn't be pristine though. It would be
rebuilt. They'd fix it. You don't leave the Statue of Liberty in ruins for months.
It would take months to fix it.
Not to fix it.
This is a gripe. This is the nitpickiest of nitpicky.
That's your gripe. That is amazing. That's your gripe. Is the Statue of Liberty? I gotta say though, like I know it's her power is still very much in line with the way she moves in the comics, except instead of making a platform, she just makes a longer leg. But like as much as Clarke was saying earlier that it reminds him of Spider-Man, I think Ms. Marvel has to be the least efficient at traveling. That is not.
No.
She is gonna get exhausted.
That's leg day.
That is leg day, man. You're running city miles, like just running them normally at normal speed. That sucks.
I think her power skill though makes it a lot easier to assess her survivability in space.
Or that's the mutation.
Right?
That's fair. Yeah.
Like if she was just stretchy and a teenager, I think she's gonna die in space. But
yeah, that's true. She is giving herself a suit of armor, basically. Yeah. But overall, I did like it. I think we all liked it. So you know,
it's definitely worth the watch. It's if you subscribe to Disney Plus,
and watch it because it's going to tie into stuff later, and I think I saw a friend of mine on Facebook that was saying I think Iman Vellani was as perfectly cast as Grant Gustin in The Flash, and I was like, I don't know. Grant Gustin kind of looks stupid when he runs. I think Iman Vellani's better cast than Grant Gustin. Do I like Grant Gustin more than Ezra Miller? By a mile. I really do. Do I think he's perfectly cast? Not the way I think of like Robert Downey Jr. or I guess Iman Vellani. I think she's pretty great.
I will admit she grew on me because I fell in love with the Kamala Khan from the Avengers video game. Which I thought was perfect. I know, that was voice acting, and animated, but she was perfect.
She's pretty good in that.
But absolutely grew on, really quickly, and she was fantastic in this. And again, one of the best parts about the whole series, and I would watch it, recommend it just for this, is the wonderful family dynamic. And so this is a great show to watch with families and stuff, and if you want to see a loving, realistic family dynamic with squabbles, but also challenges and seeing them come together, which we don't get enough on TV, I will say, here's a show for you.
I'm gonna do I'm gonna be pissed like Ricky always does. I'm gonna be pissed if that movie doesn't have the family in it.
Oh, someone's dying in that movie. One of the family.
You went further than I went, but I'm saying I just want to see them again. I think they deserve to be in the movie because they carried this show just as much as she did. Like that family was awesome.
I think the mom's safe.
Well, I think you're definitely going to see him right at the
The
beginning.
brother, and the.
I think the brother and the wife could be
Yeah,
French.
they're not. They're not. I don't even
I
think Bruno makes it
I
in.
think Ricky's starting a Deadpool on Kamala Khan's
If Bruno
family.
shows up, the dad doesn't show up.
Oh man,
That's my. I'm calling here.
I don't know that I don't know
years.
that I need Bruno to show up in the movie, but I want the family because I mean, in fairness, Brie Larson's in their freaking house.
Yes.
There should at least be one scene with the family freaking out that Captain Marvel's there, right?
I think that absolutely will happen at the beginning of the movie.
Good, because they are awesome and they deserve to be in a movie. They're great.
And
they're
those
awesome.
Residuals.
Exactly. All right. Well, I don't know about you guys. Do you want to keep talking about this, or do you want to wrap this up soon?
Well, let's what's next on the MCU plate?
Well,
that we know
the MCU plate is a She-Hulk, which is going to be in about I think 6 weeks from now, 5 or 6
August.
weeks, 5 or 6 weeks. But we will be back in 2 weeks to discuss the season premiere of Harley Quinn. Ricky, as a surprise, I don't know if you knew this, but I got our special guest Comedy Brian to come back.
I was just talking about Comedy Brian today.
Yeah, we got him to fall in love with that show, and you wouldn't believe how fast he said yes when I said, "Would you like to come back to talk about season 3 of Harley Quinn?" And he's on board.
We burned him on MODOK last time, so we gotta.
Yeah, we did. We burned him on MODOK. Did we get him to watch Howard the Duck also, or was?
Oh
no, he wasn't Howard the.
No, I think he was. I think he came back a week later. He stayed a week later to just hang out with us again and do Howard the Duck.
Yeah, we owe him.
He did do it. But yeah, he's coming back because he's super excited, and I know he's been practicing his Bane voice and stuff like that too. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. I was about to wrap this up. We do have one question from Twitch. I'm gonna field it and see if anybody knows about this. I have a question about casting rumor for Marvel. If you're not gonna spoil, I don't know that I mind. Marcus, Devil May Cry.
I mean, there's been some. I saw a recent Ryan Gosling as Doom. I kind of like that. Isn't Doom's a pretty boy in the comics, right?
Oh, that's actually not the rumor I've heard. I've heard the rumor is Ryan Gosling is interested in Ghost Rider.
Yes, I've heard. Well, he's been attached to Doom. He's interested in Ghost Rider. He's also kind of attached to Nova.
Yeah. Marcus, Devil May Cry, if you can promise that you're not going to spoil anything that might be revealed at Comic-Con next week, you're welcome to ask it. Otherwise, I feel like you should put it in the comment section, and I'll get back to you after the show is over. I think that's fair, right? You can do it in the comments. I do know of a juicy one that I'm curious about, Blade, but I'm gonna zip my lips on that one until next week.
Casting?
And then yes.
Okay.
It's quite juicy.
Blade people, so
quite juicy. It's the thing, I think, of all the spoilers I saw, it's the thing that excited me the most.
Blade's rumors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You better
the second one that excited me the most is another X-Men character besides Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Okay, well there you go. Well, if that's about that, then I just said it.
Well, we can talk about the X-Men one, can't we?
Yeah. We can talk about Giancarlo being rumored to be
Professor X. The other X-Men leader?
I don't want to spoil that. I don't want to spoil that because Clarke's going to get an experience next week if they do that. If they do it, Clarke's going to be very happy.
Okay.
If they don't do it, then I'll just tell Clarke what it could be.
See, the problem is, no matter who they cast as Cyclops, I will not be happy until I see him actually represented well in the damn movie.
I think if you knew who it was, you would be happy.
I'm not that excited as Dennis, but I like the pick.
I'm very excited for who the rumor is for Cyclops, but I as far as Giancarlo goes for Xavier, I will put my 2 cents out there. I have a very specific extra criteria. I get weirded out when I see people being crappy wheelchair characters. I like, and when I mean that, I don't mean wheelchair characters are crappy. It means I'm in a wheelchair, so when I watch somebody who's able-bodied sit in a wheelchair all the time, I start nitpicking when I see their feet move or their knees move and stuff like that. And I got to tell you, man, Patrick Stewart is one of the best. He's one of the best I've ever seen. But I believe that Giancarlo will, if he is the new Professor X, I think he'll do his due diligence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I would agree with
McAvoy was phoning that in, and he did some really weird stuff that I didn't like.
Well, he has to shoot up the heroin, and then he can walk again. So, I mean,
oh god, him walking up the stairs was the worst thing ever. It was just like lifting his legs. I was so insulted by that whole thing. But I don't know, like, what do you guys think? Are you? I mean, we've heard this rumor for a year, like at least
I got no
year.
problem with it.
He was I think the Magneto one started before the Professor X, but I'm fine with either or.
I think he's just a strong actor, and I think it would be like I want to say it would be nice to see him not play a villain for once.
Yes,
but then I remember, well, Professor X kind of is a villain. Like,
well, he
kind of is a villain.
I mean, I've known most from The Boys. That's probably the most recent story I've seen him in. And he just has this he commands presence without, I think, yelling, right?
Yeah.
And just the way he speaks and his cadence. And I think if you can just tweak it a bit, you have a pretty good Professor X there.
I think you're right. You know, the strength of his voice and his presence, and just imagine him.
Yeah, if he's down
he
to
could pull it off. Yeah,
if he's down to clown with shaving his head so he can use Cerebro, I'm good with it.
Bald,
you know what I mean?
Shave his head.
He's not bald. He's not bald. But I think he cuts it close. But yeah, no, I mean, he was saying. So our friend in the chat who's keeping the show going, because to me, if it's true, I can't blame them because Patrick Stewart always be comic 1-to-1 Professor Xavier to screen. If it's true, I'm good with this change. I am too.
I'm happy that we're at the point where that rumor can come out, and the instant reaction is, well, he's not white.
Whatever.
Right? Like I feel pretty good about that.
Here's the reality. Like at this point, the Professor X Charles Magneto relationship is gonna be different anyways because Magneto cannot have been from World War II. Way too far,
right?
Way too far back. So if he's not a Jew that survived the Holocaust, you got to change the whole thing.
Yeah.
And if they still gotta have a very strong tie to oppressed people in America, I don't think I have a problem with them being black men if they're both black men, especially. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But what if, to go controversial? What if they do a Professor X that's not in a wheelchair?
Doesn't he walk in the new comics, right?
No, he walks occasionally for dumb reasons.
But the helmet.
I'm just saying, if you're, what if they did a Professor X that was not in a wheelchair?
I don't know. I don't know if I'd be down with that.
I would be upset because there's not enough wheelchair people in superhero land. So if you're gonna take away like the only one that people know, that's pretty rough.
You got Barbara Gordon.
Barbara Gordon is barely ever in a wheelchair and
they take her away from that wheelchair
in media outside of comic books. Very rarely.
I would be disappointed if they do that. I don't think you can.
But with that said, I can forgive it. If they want to do a walking Professor X, that's fine. As long as Marvel finds a way to inject 2 other people with disabilities somewhere else. Like you take away one, just put 2 in somewhere else, and I'm good with it. You know what I mean? Like it's just about representation. But I think part of the charm of Professor X in the stories is that his power doesn't require the use of his body. You know what I mean? And so I think, and he is so powerful too. So. But I don't think Patrick's coming back again. By the way, I think
no.
I think that was it. I think that was the last one for us. But it's
good
okay.
send-off.
Yeah, it was good. He got to be murdered. Like he's like, in all honesty, like Logan was the best thing like for him. Like that was the ultimate
Yeah, he said he
for
was
Professor
done.
X. Yeah.
And then he's like, you know what? Yeah, no problem. I'll join the MCU.
Yeah,
which
and just,
I have no problem with.
And just to be clear, when I was hating on Logan earlier, I don't hate on Professor X in that movie. He's the best part of that whole movie for me. Like he kills it in that movie. So just to be clear, was I satisfied with him in Doctor Strange? Nah, whatever. Like he can't top what he did in Logan. It was too beautiful.
I think the X-Men, you got to way to appease fans is you got to put them in the costumes. It sounds super simple, but you got to put them in the Jim Lee blue and yellows, right? Maybe put a brown Wolverine. You got at least get Wolverine in the suit.
Now Ricky's making his list. I like this.
But
you're gonna check it twice.
Just to see them as a team fighting together, and you need the splash panel, right? You need the page of all of them posed up, doing the whatever Cyclops thing, and Professor X in the middle. And I think you got a good movie right there.
As Cyclops says, an astonishing
that
X-Men.
Is not what makes a movie.
Figure out the story later.
Figure out the story later.
Whoa! They just gotta look good. They just gotta look good.
Oh man! All right.
Wow, well, we are. You know what? I don't even want to dive into.
I think that's how we're gonna end the show on Ricky's hot take for figure out the story.
We're gonna have
later.
So much fun in lines next week, Ricky. We're gonna continue this.
Record these conversations.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for reals now. Thank you, Marcus Devil May Cry, for chiming in with a question. I hope we were able to answer you. And hey, man, feel free to come back and check out the show or check out our old episodes, whatever. But yeah, we're going to take a break for the next week for Comic-Con, but we'll be back the following week. And thanks for tuning in. Thanks to our patrons for supporting our growth, and to our audience, everybody who's chiming in, not just Marcus Devil May Cry.
Mm-hmm.
If you had fun, please remember to like and subscribe, and check us out on Patreon for our after show, which normally is after the soapbox and other stuff. But we will not be doing the soapbox tonight, so with that said, see you next time on Dan Excelsior, True Believers. Enough said.